Okay. Welcome everybody to Outcreating Financial Insanity. I think that's what this is called. um, so happy that you're all here. Thank you for the allowance with the time changes. I was at my house in La Manzanilla, Mexico, where we are still working out getting good, reliable internet, and that has not happened yet. So we came back to Puerto Vallarta yesterday, and I didn't want to try to do this with iffy internet. So, and I wanted to do it when Europe was awake. So, here we are. And so I'll be going live every day today and then for the next 3 days after today. And I will record them every day and I will repost the recording in the group. So if you missed the live, no big deal. You can catch the recording. And just show you beautiful Puerto Vallarta, the Bay of Banderas is where we are. So pretty here. So it's lovely to have the ocean contributing. So it'll be with us. I'll be here for the next 4 days. So I created this because there's obviously, as we know, there's a lot of financial insanity in the world right now. It's one of those moments where, shit happens. We have this, if you look at history, there's been highs and lows with economic markets and wars and all the things. And, all these different sort of factors that contribute to the world going crazy with money. And for me, it's one of the greatest things about the Access Consciousness tools is that everything is about choice. And we really, when you start to really have that as your reality and use that as your playground, like use choice as your main tool for creation, then you're not at the effect of the rest of the world. And it's one of those things, I think also that people sort of, like resist that as a reality because they don't want to have that much power. They don't want to have that much, choice. A lot of people, it is definitely a very different way of functioning in the world. And that sort of just smacks in the face of this reality, because this reality is completely created and organized to disavow us as infinite beings, to disavow our choice, and which is one of our greatest superpowers, and to disavow that we can actually create whatever reality we would like to create and have. And so when it comes to, okay, now the whole world is in a tizzy around money, what would you like to choose? And this is why I wanted to do this. And we're going to follow it up with the How to Become Money workbook for 2 weeks and really dive into that, because that is a conversation that is, when we talk about becoming money, it's like being the energy of money, keeping money, because, money in this reality is something that's outside of you. It's something that you have to go get. You have to attain. You have to get somebody to give it to you, or lots of people to give it to you, or whatever. What if none of that was relevant to you? What if none of that was real and true for you? What if none of that had to be how money worked for you? And what if it was really just, you actually were willing and able to choose the financial reality that you would like to have in any moment, and sustainably, and the financial future that you would like to have. And one of the things that I see right now with everything, because, when things really start to fall apart, and that's really what we're seeing right now, is this reality basically kind of falling apart, like in so many ways. Things are falling apart in this reality right now, which is actually what we've all been creating with consciousness. You cannot, as we create a different reality with consciousness and in our own lives, this reality is like, the more you ignore it, the more it atrophies and dies. And that's exactly what's going on right now. So what if what is happening in the world and the financial insanity of the world was not something that had to affect you? Certainly be aware, but what if you could be aware of what's going on in the world right now financially from a place of curiosity about possibility? Because when things start to atrophy and die and go away and change, that's when we actually begin to, like, that's when there's so many openings, and you insert yourself in those places and spaces and those energies and those possibilities. If you insert yourself there with question and asking questions and being curious about what's going on. Catherine, can you please? Thank you. That's weird. We don't have a way to mute people. Or at least I don't. I don't know, Leilani, if you do, but if you can, let's talk about that later. So anyway, one of your greatest superpowers, as I said before, is choice. And another one of your greatest superpowers is actually asking questions and being curious. So those are two of the elements of creation: question, choice, possibility, and contribution. And if probably a lot of you guys who have played with the tools of Access Consciousness have heard that conversation before, or have maybe played a lot or a little or whatever with question, choice, possibility, contribution. But those really are how things get created. And if you're willing to use those elements of creation, it doesn't matter what's going on. That, like, what is happening in the world around you, and you can apply this to anything. Like, if you're in a relationship with somebody and things are wonky, you, as the one who chooses to function from the elements of creation, become like, you harness and unleash your superpowers for creation and actualization. And because your point of view creates your reality. So you begin to look from a different point of view of curiosity, and knowing that choice is your tool, your main tool for creation. And in doing so, all of these energies and all of these possibilities and the contribution of the universe open up to you. The universe doesn't give a fuck about, basically the universe doesn't give a fuck about, oh, there's an economic downturn in the world. It's like, that's not that. It's just an energy. It's not bad. It's not a travesty. It's not even real. It's like there's a lot of alignment and agreement right now on limited financial realities. And anything that gets fed with a lot of alignment and agreement and conclusions and points of view, we give power to it in this reality by feeding things with our alignment, agreement with each other, and our points of view. Your point of view creates your reality. So you look and you're like, oh, okay, well, there's a depression or a recession or whatever, however you want to see it, right? You look from that point of view, that's exactly what's going to show up. And you're basically jumping into the concrete soup of the rest of reality, to play in that, to not play is a funny word because you're not actually really, it's probably not very fun play, but to engage with the solidity of everything. And you basically begin to adopt that as your reality by aligning and agreeing with it and being like, oh shit, there's not enough money now in the world. And well, the amount of money in the world hasn't changed. It's just circulating in a different way, right? Now, how do you access that is by question, choice, possibility, and contribution. So you start to look and go, okay, cool. So there's a change in how money is being distributed. And, now let's look and see from a different point of view through asking questions. What's available to me now? How can I use this to my advantage? And that's the question I want to really begin in a way with today is, how can you use this to your advantage? Start to function from that question with anything that's going on in your life. How can I use this to my advantage? Now, that can bring stuff up for people because you're like, oh, but I don't want to, take advantage, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so all of that is everything that brings up and lets down. Will you please destroy and uncreate it? Times a godzillion, right, wrong, good, bad, all nine, puck, pud, shorts, boys, povads, and beyonds. And you guys have probably heard that, but if you haven't heard, that's the Access Consciousness Clearing Statement, which just deletes all that crap. You don't have to know how it works. It just works. If you want to know how it works, you can go to theclearingstatement.com and what it is and more about it. But it's like it's like putting all the files in the trash, and then you hit the empty trash button, and there you go. It's done. It's gone. So what if taking advantage, what if using what's going on in the world right now to your advantage is actually what if it's a gift, not just to you, but to the world in the creation of a different reality financially? And you can start to, engage with that in a different way through the questions that you're asking. And then from there, the choices that you make for how you want to move in the world. Because there's always, you can look at any economic situation in the world, and there's people that make money off of it depending on how they position themselves and what they choose. So would you like that to be your reality? Or would you like your reality to be, oh, there's a recession, there's a downturn, that means I'm going to have to tighten the purse strings, blah, 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 blah. So everything all of that is times a godzillion, will you destroy and uncreate it? Right, wrong, good, bad, all nine, puck, pud, shorts, boys, povats, beyonds. It's one of the most powerful things to look at a limited, concrete, solid reality, which is this reality, and to go, well, that's an interesting point of view, and turn to a different, to a completely different, undefined, unknown, unpredictable world where you begin to function from the creation and the actualization of what it is that you know as a unique being on the planet at this time. Would you be willing to function as a unique being on the planet at this time who is here to create a different world? And the way that you do that, the way that you begin, is by asking different questions and then making choices that, are in concert with those questions, like the awareness that comes from the questions that you ask. Make choices based on that and move forward in the world in a way that is congruent with those things that are showing up for you to choose. Because in order to create a different reality with anything, you've got to make some different choices than you've been making before. You cannot expect to make the same choices, not ask any questions and have that actually be something that that moves, that creates a different outcome. You want to create a different reality, make different choices, ask different questions, be curious. And if you don't know what to ask, you can ask, well, what could I be asking? Start with, how can I use this to my advantage? If this wasn't a problem, what would the possibility be? Those are two great questions. If this was not a problem, What would the possibility be? And you position yourself when you ask that particular question, you position yourself to start to have the awareness of how you can actually use the circumstances of the world and all the points of view flying around out there in a way that is going to generate and create and actualize a different financial reality for you. So if this wasn't a problem, what would the possibility be? And how can I use everything that's going on in the world financially right now to my advantage for consciousness? For consciousness. And consciousness includes you. So that's day one for y'all. I hope that was helpful. Please share this around if you would like to invite other people to be part of this conversation. It's free, as you know. The link to join the Telegram group where these videos is happening. If you're seeing this, I don't know if we're going to post it elsewhere, but maybe we will, is heathernichols.com/Telegram. So easy to get to. It just forwards to the Telegram group. And let's create a world, because my big ask for this, well, one of the reasons why I decided to do this is because I'm asking for a world where the wealth is in the hands of the conscious people that are asking for a greater future, choosing a greater future, and money is not required for that, and it can make it a lot easier and a lot more fun. And maybe even show up a little bit faster, So let's have that. Let's have wealth, massive, massive, massive wealth be in the hands of people that are going to actually use it to create a greater future. Money, as Simone Melissa said on her call last night, money for consciousness, period. That includes you. Okay, everybody, thank you so much, and I will see you tomorrow. We've posted the time links in the group, so you can click. I think it's pinned. If it's not, we can pin it. And for the times for the next 3 days, they're going to vary because I'm in the Being You facilitator training this weekend. So, but they'll all be, semi-Europe friendly times. I think one of them is, no, I think they're all actually pretty good. So, okay. Thanks, guys. See you tomorrow.